Welcome, gentlemen, from Major League Fantasy Football. This is Corey Roberts, the owner of Major League Fantasy Sports. And I'm doing a video for you, gentlemen, today for the free agent auction system or the FAAB system on Fantrax. It is actually a different type of system than you're likely used to on any other website. Has some quirks with it. However, once you get used to using it, I think the tools itself and how it works is you have much more control and much more power over how you actually align the system. So, without further, we'll get right into it. We won't waste any time talking about this or that. We'll get right into it because it may take just a couple minutes, maybe 10, 12 minutes or so to go through the whole thing, at least thoroughly. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you real quick, and we'll get started here. So first things first, our auction rules are pretty straightforward. If you play in leagues 1, 2, 3, or 4, you have a minimum bid of $1, max of $15, and you have a max of $100 you can spend on free agents for the entire season. So make sure you manage that appropriately. In the Champions League, it's a minimum of $3 and a max of $30. But leagues 1 through 4 is $1 and $15. So let's take a look at, take a look at this. This is my team in League 1, which we just drafted on Monday. And I moved a couple of guys here to the IR. I wanted to remind everybody, whether you're new or you're a veteran, the player does not need to have a little plus sign here in the flag, which means he's literally listed on the IR for this to be used. You can use this for guys that are questionable, doubtful, probable, or listed on the IR or suspended. You could use these. You have 4 IR spots that you could actually use. So those can be used for that. So I have 2 open available bench spots here, and I've only got 2 cornerbacks on the team. Got 3 safeties and 4 linebackers, at least on the active roster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pool, and I'm all filled up here offensively. But I'm going to do another scenario in regards to where I pick up a guy and put Dwayne Allen on the IR spot. So let's jump right into this. So I want to pick up a player. I'm looking for, let's say, 2 cornerbacks. I'm looking to pick up 2 cornerbacks and then a tight end. So we're going to go over to the player pool. I'm going to go ahead and skinny my search down to corners since I know that's what I'm looking for. This is running slow tonight. Must be a lot of people drafting. So, excuse me. All right, so I'm here on the corners page. Now, I know I have 2 empty bench spots here, so I don't have to drop anybody in this situation. So what I'm going to be doing is looking for 2 corners. I'm just going to take the first 2 corners to make this real simple. Now, again, reminding myself that I need 2, that I want 2 cornerbacks, and there's 2 open bench spots. So we're going to go after Gaines here. All right, and this section right here is where you're going to go ahead and list the bid amount. Remember, the bid in this league is League 1, so it's $1 to $15. All right, let's say this is the guy I really want. I'm going to list them for 5, which is kind of a high bid at this point in the season, but just for example purposes. All right, remembering I have 2 open bench spots, so I don't need to drop anybody here. So I'm going to pay attention to this very closely. In the position that you put him in, number 1, whether he's reserve or active is really the most important thing, okay? The other thing is you can pick a guy up straight from the wire and slap him right on your injured reserve. All right, so I could very easily do that with Gaines if I were to win the bid. All right, but let's say I got 2 open bench spots, so I want him to go on the reserve. I want him to go on the bench. So I go ahead and put that in there. Now, I remember another guy on the list was Alford. Okay, I'll go ahead and select. Let's see, where is he at? Here we go. And let's say I only want to put 3 on him. Let's stagger this a little bit. Again, going to the reserve. Okay. And let's look who else is available. I didn't see who else was there. So what you're going to need to do in this situation is you're going to need to put multiple players that you want to pick up. Now, remembering I want to pick up 2 corners, I'm going to want to make a bid on, I would say, no less than 5 corners that are actually available to at least assure myself that I get, 1 of them. Likely I would get 2 if I'm putting in 5 guys. Likely. Normally I would go above and beyond, and I'd probably put 6 bids in. because I want 2 cornerbacks. Come on, load the page for crying out loud. Internet is not being very nice. Gosh almighty. All right, let's try to remember what we get on that page. We have to go through that again. Let's see. We're going to go. I'm going to try to pick up the next 3 guys available, which is going to be Carroll, Randall, and Rhodes from Minnesota. Okay, so let's go to. Oh, gotta click on the plus sign here. Come on. Wow. Okay, so we're going to click on Carroll. All right, in this situation, I bid 5 and I bid 3 on the first 2 guys. Now these are going to be my second tier guys, so I'm gonna bid $1 on him. Okay, and I'm sending him to the reserve. Next guy was Randall. Okay, and I'm going to bid $1 on him as well, going to the bench. Okay, and then last, what do we say? Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes, $1. Okay. Now from here, and remember, we're putting them on the reserve. Reserve is bench, active is active. If you look along the right-hand side here, if it says active, that means they're in the active position. And this is in the exact order that it's going to show on your roster. Now, I've talked to Fantrax about actually putting the exact position here, which I think is something they're going to implement very soon, hopefully. So it's easier to see. But you'll see active here, then you'll see reserves. You know, you can have 8 men on your bench. You see 6 here. You know, there's 2 open spots. You know, you can have 4 guys on the IR. You know, there's 2 open IR spots. Now, the next step and what we're going to do is we are going to go over to pending. You go over the transactions, drop-down menu. Now we're going to go to pending transactions. Now, this is where you need to pay close attention. So what you're going to have here is a couple of different things. So we've got groupings, and then we've got max claims per group. Okay? And pay attention to this real quick. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go try to pick up 2 tight ends. All right? And in this situation, what I'm going to be doing is picking these guys up directly, only wanting one of them, and sending Allen to the IR all at the same time, pretty much. All right, so let's say I go with Tammy and Walford. That's who I'm going to go with, Tammy and Walford. All right, I'm only wanting one of these guys. So I'm going to put a $2 bid on Tammy. Now I'm going to go directly to Dwayne Allen, who's on my bench. Okay, he's got a little red flag next to him. So I'm going to highlight him, submit transaction. And this is what's really important. Remember, Tammy's the guy we're picking up. So you know he's a tight end, but he's going on a bench. So the fact that he's going on a bench, the position he's in really doesn't matter at all. If he was active, he's going to an active spot, that's when this matters. And you have to know which of these spots are open. Your WT spot, your tight end spot, or your RWT spot. Because at this point, you're picking him up and sending him directly into the starting lineup. Well, in this case, Dwayne Allen's on the bench, so we're not doing that. So he's going to the bench, reserve. Now, Dwayne Allen, I don't want to drop Dwayne Allen, and I've got 2 open spots in my IR. Now, your 3 selections here with a guy you can move to injured reserve is going to be 3. It's going to be drop, activate, or move to injured reserve. In this situation, we want to send him to the injured reserve. So if I win this claim, he'll go directly from the bench to the IR without you having to really do anything after that. Okay, and then what did we say? The second guy I wanted to pick up was Walford. And we'll say we'll bid $1 on him. And we're going to exchange him again for Dwayne Allen, sending Walford to the bench, Dwayne Allen to injured reserve. Okay. And we're gonna do one more here too, just to show you the difference between sending them into the active lineup and we can we'll finish up the video here in a couple of seconds. So you kind of get the full idea, and then we'll hit these grouping thing. This is what confuses most people when they first use it, and this is how you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot and miss out on a bid. I missed out on 2 years ago. I missed out on getting Odell Beckham Jr. after he missed those first 4 games. I put a bid in on him for $8, and I screwed up my groupings and lost the bid to somebody else that bid $7 because I didn't have my grouping set correctly. And I'm still shooting myself in the ass about that ever since. Yeah, I think clearly anybody would be. Okay, so I've got Shazier in my starting lineup who's got a red flag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 linebackers, and then we'll do a different scenario. So we'll kind of cover all the bases here. Use this video as a reference. If you ever have any questions, it's going to cover all the basics. And once you do this a few times, you won't really have to worry about it so much anyway. But initially, I don't want you guys screwing up, especially when the season, first starts. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. So let's see here if this thing would ever load, for crying out loud. It's running like garbage tonight. Let's see here. Let's just go the first 2. It doesn't matter. So we'll go with Davis and then Wright to third. All right. Now, the difference in this situation, let's say I'm going to go 2 on him and I'll go 1 on the other guy. Shazier is in an active lineup spot. Now, when you click on Shazier, he's in an active lineup spot. Remember, he's not on the bench. And you hit submit transaction. And what's going to pop up is the position that Demario Davis is actually listed in. Okay? Now, let's say, for instance, you come down here, and this is actually the flex spot right here. The ID spot. So if I were to click on Gibson, for instance, it's going to automatically populate the position that he's going to go into in the active position, okay? But that's not what I want to do. What I want to do here is click on Shazier because I want to be able to send him to the IR. So I'm hitting submit transaction. I'm sending Demario Davis to the LB spot. That's a traditional LB spot. Active, Shazier, move to injured reserve. Okay, not drop, move to injured reserve. So we got that. Let's go ahead and move right, and then we'll hit the groupings. Okay. Dollar, Shazier, again, linebacker, active, Shazier, move to injured reserve. Okay. This is the part that usually gets people. All right. So in this situation, I want 2 corners. I want 1 tight end, and I want 1 linebacker. Now, if you look right here on the left, you see groups. You see a grouping. Well, there's 9 guys here, and I put all these bids in. Well, I mean, I'm not going to – first of all, I'm not going to win all the bids, and I don't want to win all the bids. And, if you were to put it this way, just leave it like this, you're going to screw yourself and not get the players you're looking for, because you see this number up here says max claims per group. So if you left all these guys in the same group, and let's say you won EJ Gaines, for instance, it kicks out the rest of your claims because you're telling the system to only take 1 player out of this entire group. Whichever guy's higher on the list that wins is who you'll get, and everybody else will be kicked out, which would screw me, right? So what you have to do is set up different groupings. So I got the cornerbacks here, tight ends, and linebackers. So I'm going to set up the corners as group 1. And knowing that I want 2 of these corners, I'm going to change the max claims for group 1 to 2. Now, to change the grouping order, I'm going to go next to Tammy and change him to 2, and then also Clive Walford to 2. Now, you'll notice another one of these boxes pops up. Now, sometimes it'll mess with you. You see here it changed the 1. I put that to 2, and it changed it back to 1. So just pay attention to that and make sure that that's correct. It can be quirky sometimes. So linebackers, I want 1 linebacker. So I need to do what? Create another group. So I'm creating a 3rd group. All right, so there's 3 different groups here. I want 2 out of the first group, 2 corners. I only want 1 of each of the next group. That's why this is selected as 1. And what I would do at this point, so I've got the 3 different groups. I've got an opportunity to get 2 of this group, 1 of this group, and 1 of this group. Then I click Save Changes. And that's pretty much it. Understanding the groupings and understanding what max claims per group is and what it does and how to use the system is really important. But again, if you've never used it, it can be relatively confusing. If you want to cancel these, it's real simple. You just check this box right here, which I'm going to be canceling all these because I'm not interested in picking up these players. You just hit check the box and then click save, and there you go. Last thing is if you want to check transactions and you want to see like for instance, like if there's a bunch of bids on this board right here and you want to see all the bids, even the losing bids, after the auction is complete for say Thursday morning at 11, just uncheck this box of executed only, and it'll show you all the failed claims and what everybody else was bidding on the players. You won't be able to see the bids that people put on them until after the auction. So it's true blind auction. So with that, I mean, that's pretty much all we needed to cover with this video. I just wanted to make sure you guys are fully prepared to use the auction system. It's actually a really good system. It's just a matter of understanding how to use it and utilizing it to the best of your ability, and pay attention. You know, sometimes when you change the groupings and create new groups, it'll change the max claims per group. Just make sure you're double checking that, clicking your save button, and that's it. Any other questions that you have about this, gentlemen, just reach out to me via phone call, text message, email, whatever, and I'll get right to it. But anyway, doing this on draft night. The draft starts in about half hour. So you guys have a good luck tonight in the draft, and good luck tomorrow night with the 2 drafts.